By this blood, I promise never to leave you.
Our bond is eternal, unbreakable.
No force can part us.
No, she's gone!
In the quiet town of Umudike in southeastern Nigeria, where red earth roads curved around mud houses and palm trees whispered secrets to the wind, there lived a young couple whose love story was known by almost everyone. Their names were Chukwudi and Ifunanya. From the day they met at the village stream, people said their bond was different. It was not just love, it was deep, intense, and almost frightening. They were always together, laughing under the mango tree near the market square or walking hand in hand after evening prayers. Ifunanya was beautiful in a simple way. She had bright eyes that carried kindness and a smile that made even the oldest man in the village nod with approval. Chukwudi was tall, hardworking, and proud. He loved her with a passion that sometimes felt too strong. He would often say that life without her was not life at all.
Your smile is as warm as the sun.
And your words are sweet as honey.
Let me carry this for you.
Thank you.
He believed she was sent to him by destiny. Their love grew quickly, and when Chukwudi finally paid her bride price, the whole village celebrated. The drums sounded for 3 days. Women danced and sang songs of marriage and unity. The elders prayed for them and blessed their union. Everything seemed perfect. But their love did not stop at ordinary promises. One evening, under the light of a full moon, Chukwudi took Ifunanya to the sacred Iroko tree at the edge of the forest. The tree was old and feared. It was believed that spirits listened there. With a small knife, he cut his palm. He did the same to her. Their blood mixed together. He swore that nothing would ever separate them. Not poverty, not sickness, not even death. He promised that if death ever took her away, he would remain faithful. He said he would never marry another woman. He said her place in his heart could never be replaced. Ifunanya believed him. With tears in her eyes, she made the same promise. Their blood covenant was sealed. For some years, their marriage was peaceful. They farmed together and saved money. Soon, they were blessed with a baby girl named Amara. Life felt complete. Chukwudi built a small but comfortable house. Nanos admired their unity. They looked like a family protected by heaven. Then tragedy came like a sudden storm. One rainy season, Ifunanya fell sick. At first, it was just a fever. They thought it would pass. But the fever grew worse. She became weak and could not stand. Chukwudi carried her to the nearest clinic in the next town. The nurse gave her medicine, but nothing changed. They tried herbal remedies. They prayed. They fasted. The elders offered sacrifices. Still, her body grew colder each day.
She's getting stronger, I promise.
When will she wake up?
Very soon, just a little longer. I know it's hard, but we must be strong.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, my child. She'll be all right. The fever is breaking.
Are you sure, Papa?
Yes, my child, she is strong.
One night, as thunder shook the sky, Ifunanya held Chukwudi's hand tightly. She reminded him of their promise under the Iroko tree. Her voice was weak, but her eyes were serious. She asked him if he would still love her, even if she died. Chukwudi cried and told her not to speak of death. He repeated his promise. He said she would always be his one and only wife. Before morning, Ifunanya took her last breath.
No, she's gone!
No!
Why? She's gone now, my child.
I miss her, Papa.
I know. We will be strong.
Together.
She's gone, my child. She's with the ancestors now.
No, Papa, I want Mama back.
I know. We must be strong.
The village mourned deeply. Chukwudi was broken. He refused to eat. He slept beside her grave for days. He told everyone he would never remarry. He said no woman could ever take her place. The elders reminded him he was still young, but he ignored them. His heart was buried with her. Months passed, then years. Loneliness slowly entered his heart like a silent visitor. Raising Amara alone was not easy. He worked long hours on the farm. There was no one to cook, clean, or comfort him at night. His mother began to pressure him. She said a man cannot live without a wife. She said Amara needed a mother. At first, he refused strongly, but as time went on, the pressure increased. Friends laughed at him. They said he was still young and strong. They told him life must continue. Some said the dead cannot marry the living. After 3 years, Chukwudi began to change. He stopped visiting Ifunanya's grave. He started attending village gatherings again. Slowly, his heart opened to the idea of another woman. He convinced himself that his promise was made out of pain. He told himself that the dead do not return. Then he met Ngozi. Ngozi was a widow from a nearby village. She was gentle and respectful. She treated Amara kindly. She cooked delicious meals and spoke softly. Chukwudi found comfort in her presence. Within months, he decided to marry her. The wedding was quiet, unlike his first marriage. But the moment he tied the marriage knot, the wind in Umudike began to change. On the night Ngozi moved into the house, strange things happened. The oil lamp went out by itself. A cold breeze entered the room, though all windows were closed. Ngozi felt a strange presence. She turned and thought she saw a shadow standing near the door. Chukwudi ignored it. He said it was just imagination. But that night, he dreamed of Ifunanya. In the dream, she stood under the Iroko tree, wearing the white cloth she was buried in. Her eyes were not gentle anymore. They were filled with anger and pain. She reminded him of the blood covenant. She asked him why he had broken his promise. She told him that blood does not forget. Chukwudi woke up sweating. He dismissed it as guilt. The dreams continued every night. Soon, they were not only dreams. Sloths began to fall without reason. Water turned red in the clay pot. Amara started crying at midnight, saying she saw her mother standing beside her bed. Ngozi became afraid. She begged Chukwudi to seek help from a pastor. But before they could act, something terrible happened. One evening, as Ngozi was cooking, the fire suddenly flared high and burned her arm badly. She screamed in pain. In the smoke, she claimed she saw the face of a woman staring at her. A woman with eyes like fire, which spread through the village. People whispered that Ifunanya's spirit was restless. The elders remembered the blood covenant. They warned Chukwudi that such promises are not ordinary. Blood speaks in the spirit world. Soon, misfortune entered the house. Chukwudi's farm began to fail. Crops dried unexpectedly. Goats died without sickness. Amara fell ill repeatedly. Ngozi had nightmares and could not sleep. She felt someone pushing her at night. One night, as thunder roared again just like the night Ifunanya died, she appeared physically. Chukwudi was awake. The room became cold. The door opened slowly, though no one touched it. There she stood, not fully human, not fully spirit. Ifunanya, her voice echoed like wind in a cave. She reminded him of his oath. She told him he had replaced her. She said betrayal has consequences. Ngozi fainted. Chukwudi fell to his knees and begged for forgiveness, but Ifunanya's spirit had grown bitter. She said she waited patiently, hoping he would remain faithful. She said she watched him laugh with another woman. Her pain had turned into anger. From that day, revenge truly began. Chukwudi developed strange illnesses that doctors could not explain. He heard whispers when alone. His reflection in the mirror sometimes showed Ifunanya's face instead of his own. Ngozi became weak and pale. She felt someone choking her. In her sleep, the village pastor prayed over the house, but the disturbances only increased. The elders then advised Chukwudi to visit a powerful traditional priest known for dealing with spiritual covenants. The priest listened carefully to the story. He shook his head slowly. He said blood covenants are binding beyond death. He explained that by mixing blood under the sacred tree, they invited spirits as witnesses. Breaking it angered both the spirit of his wife and unseen forces. The priest told him the only way to break the covenant was through a painful sacrifice. He would have to publicly confess his broken promise, offer cleansing rituals, and ask Ifunanya's spirit to release him. Chukwudi agreed. At midnight, under the same iroko tree, the ritual began. Drums beat softly. The priest poured libation. Chukwudi knelt and cried loudly. He admitted his weakness. He said he was human and lonely. He begged Ifunanya to forgive him and let the living live. The wind grew strong. The leaves shook violently. Suddenly, Ifunanya's spirit appeared again. This time, her face showed deep sadness instead of rage. She said she loved him too much. That love had chained her spirit to the earth. She confessed she could not rest because she kept watching him. She felt replaced and forgotten. Chukwudi wept. He apologized sincerely. He said he still honored her memory, but could not live alone forever. He asked her to think of their daughter. For a long moment, there was silence. Then Ifunanya's spirit turned to Amara, who was standing beside the priest. The child cried and called her mother. The spirit's anger softened completely. She finally understood that holding on to revenge would only destroy everyone, including their child. Slowly, she stepped back toward the darkness of the forest. Before disappearing, she warned Chukwudi never to make sacred promises carelessly again. She told him love should not become a prison. After that night, peace returned to Umudike. Ngozi recovered. The farm began to flourish again. Amara stopped seeing shadows. Chukwudi changed deeply. He became humble and careful with his words. He respected both the living and the dead. Years passed after the night of the ritual under the Iroko tree, and peace truly seemed to settle over Umudike again. The strange whispers stopped. The shadows that once moved in corners disappeared. Chukwudi worked harder than ever on his farm, as if labor could wash away guilt. Ngozi became stronger and more confident in her new home. Amara grew into a bright and lively girl who laughed easily and no longer cried at midnight. But even though calm returned, something inside Chukwudi was never the same. He no longer spoke carelessly. He avoided making strong promises. Whenever he heard young men boasting about loving their wives forever, he would shake his head quietly. He knew there were forces beyond what eyes could see. Every year, on the anniversary of Ifunanya's death, he visited her grave. He would clear the winds, pour libation, and whisper apologies into the wind. Ngozi understood. Though she once feared the spirits of the first wife, she later came to respect her. She even joined him in prayer for Ifunanya's soul. It was her way of honoring the past and protecting her present. For many seasons, nothing unusual happened. Then one year, during the Harmattan season, when the air was dry and dusty, a new problem began. It started with Amara. By this time, Amara was almost 16 years old. She had grown into a young woman who looked exactly like her mother. The same bright eyes, the same gentle smile. Sometimes, when she stood in the doorway at sunset, Chukwudi would freeze, thinking he was seeing Ifunanya again. One night, Amara began sleepwalking. Ngozi woke up and noticed her bedroom door was open. She followed the sound of soft footsteps and found Amara walking toward the back of the compound. Her eyes were open but empty. She moved slowly, as if someone was calling her. Ngozi quickly ran to wake Chukwudi. Together, they followed the girl. She walked straight toward the old path that led to the Iroko tree. Chukwudi's heart began to pound heavily. When they reached the tree, Amara stopped and whispered softly, "Mama is waiting." A cold fear spread through Chukwudi's body. They shook her gently until she woke up. She looked confused and said she had dreamed of her mother calling her name. She said her mother looked peaceful and beautiful, not angry like before. Chukwudi tried to calm himself. He told Ngozi it was just memory. But deep inside, he felt something unfinished was rising again. In the following weeks, Amara began to change. She would sit alone and stare into space. Sometimes she spoke as if she was having quiet conversations with someone no one else could see. When asked, she said her mother visited her in dreams. But this time, the spirit was not seeking revenge. The spirit was asking for something else. One evening, as the sun turned the sky orange, Amara gathered courage and told her father what her mother had said. She said Ifunaya's spirit was not fully free. The ritual had calmed her anger, but her soul still felt tied to the covenant. She said her mother regretted making such a dangerous promise. She feared that the blood oath might follow Amara into her own future marriage. Chukwudi felt the ground shake beneath his heart. The thought that his mistake could affect his daughter terrified him more than any ghost ever could. He realized that covenants made carelessly could echo through generations. He decided not to ignore it. This time, instead of going to the traditional priest alone, he gathered both the priest and the village pastor. He wanted both spiritual worlds to witness the breaking of every remaining tie. He confessed openly before elders and family members about the covenant he had made in his youth. He warned young couples never to mix blood or swear eternal vows under sacred trees. The elders agreed to perform a final cleansing ritual, not only for him but for his entire household. On the chosen night, the whole family stood again before the Iroko tree. But this time, there was no fear. There were prayers, there were hymns, there were traditional chants asking the ancestors to release Ifunanya's spirit completely. As the ritual reached its peak, a gentle wind began to blow. It was not violent like before. It was soft and warm. Amara suddenly smiled and looked upward. She said she saw her mother standing far away, dressed in white, no longer angry, no longer sad. Ifunanya looked peaceful. She placed her hand over her chest and nodded slowly, as if saying goodbye. Then the wind stopped. Amara fainted gently, but woke up moments later feeling lighter than ever. From that day forward, the sleepwalking stopped. The strange conversations ended. The house felt completely free. Chukwudi felt a heavy burden lift from his soul. He finally understood something very important. Love is powerful, but it must never become a chain. Promises are sacred, but they must be made with wisdom. He realized that trying to control even death was pride. Years later, Amara married a kind young man from a neighboring town. During her traditional marriage ceremony, Chukwudi stood before everyone and gave a powerful speech. He told the story of his life openly. He warned them about careless vows. He told them that love must trust God, not blood rituals. The guests listened in silence. Ngozi stood beside him proudly. She had endured fear, jealousy, and pain, yet she remained strong. Her patience had helped heal the family. As for Ifunanya, her story became legend in Umudike, not as a wicked ghost, but as a lesson. People said her spirit returned because love mixed with oaths can become fire. But they also said she found peace when forgiveness replaced revenge. In his old age, Chukwudi often sat outside his house at sunset. Children would gather around him to hear stories. He would tell them about famine, about marriage, about responsibility, and sometimes, when the evening wind rustled the palm leaves, he would pause and smile gently. He no longer felt fear. He believed Ifunaya's soul had truly crossed over to rest. He believed she had forgiven him fully. He believed that the bond they once shared had transformed from obsession into blessing. And so the story of the ghost wife who returned for revenge did not end in destruction, but in wisdom. In Umudike, lovers still meet under the moonlight. Couples still promise each other forever. But they remember the tale of the blood covenant. They remember that even love must bow before wisdom, because some promises are stronger than death, and some lessons echo for generations. Tales by NB.